Hey, Chad Peterman here, your host of the Can't Stop the Growth podcast, a show that advances the home services industry and beyond. In this exclusive series, I've joined forces with Camp Digital to bring you powerful learnings that advance you and your business in the realm of all things marketing. Together, we bring content that empowers you to build a positive, healthy workplace for you, your people, and your bottom line. So let me officially pass the mic to Camp Digital for today's episode, chock full of insights that you can take and apply to your growth. Now listen and grow.
Welcome to Around the CAMPfire. I'm Katie Donovan, CEO of Camp Digital, and I'm excited to share conversations with real home service business owners and executives. Some of my favorite people who I think are the industry's top leaders, innovators, and trailblazers. Each episode, we dive into stories behind successful home services businesses, the wins, the challenges, and everything in between. Our goal, to share real stories from real people. So grab a seat around the campfire and let's get started. I think I say this at the start of every one of these, but I am honestly so excited today to be joined by a client, a friend, a person I madly respect in the space, Matt Murray. Matt is the CMO and head of innovation at Peterman Brothers. Matt, honestly, thank you very, very much. I am really, really honored you took some time to join us today. Thank you so much.
Well, my pleasure, Katie. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. You guys don't know what you're in for. One, I did just find out that Matt just got engaged. Oh, she put the news in the webs, in the world. It's out there.
Official.
So congratulations. It's official. Yeah, it's podcast official. It used to be Facebook official. Now it's podcast official.
They say I'll give my Venmo if you want to contribute to the wedding fund.
Oh, I love it. We'll put it at the end, right? I love it.
There we go.
Well, today should be a fun one. I'm really excited. I think a lot of people are very familiar with Peterman brand, but it takes a village. If you've never done the Peterman shop tour, I highly recommend it. And you get to meet people like Matt and a few other folks that really have made Peterman what Peterman is. And so obviously being from the marketing side and innovation side, you are who we work with the closest and had the opportunity to get to know and grow with. So I'm really excited. And with that, I think we'll just jump right in, Matt. Does that work for you?
Works for me.
Awesome. I know your background, but can you tell us a little bit about your background? Like, how did you get into working with Peterman? How did you get into the home services space?
Yeah, so I think it's definitely one of those things where I was a little bit at the right place at the right time. My background's in more digital marketing, app development, web development. I did that for probably 10 years out of college. And then Peterman was actually a client of mine. And Chad had reached out, wanted to know if I knew anybody. And I said, actually, I'm kind of tired of this like semi-freelance world of I thrive on the like office social scene. And you weren't getting that working at home by yourself as a freelancer. So I jumped on board. When was that? 2019, 2018. So we were maybe a fifth of the size we are now, maybe even probably smaller than that. 2 locations, very much small shop kind of feel, and kind of dove right in with, okay, here's all the things we can do using primarily, then it was more of an IT strategy of like, how do we use software to make things run better? How do we get away from just a bunch of spreadsheets, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and you guys have grown. I mean, I think, like I said, most people are probably familiar with your story. If you're not, it's worth looking up. Your growth has been phenomenal and continued well beyond, like, I think the COVID boom for most of us. So what would you say one of your earliest challenges were? I mean, you when you started, you guys were, I mean, I think you're being generous saying like a fifth of the size. The growth you've had is exponential. What's one of the earliest and biggest challenges you had?
Everything just wasn't in sync. The data wasn't there. There was a lot of different processes. I think the biggest thing is just we've getting everybody aligned and on what we're trying to do. That definitely starts from the top, and Chad's huge on that. But at that point, we were still kind of painting our picture and not exactly sure what we wanted to be. We were very much a multifamily, new construction kind of company, and now we're 100% residential. And those kind of, from a marketing standpoint, those strategies are way different. So I think once we got aligned, that was probably the biggest challenge back in the day.
I love that you said that. And that is a key takeaway. I think
from my experience with Peterman and with you guys, it really is. I mean, your leadership does a lot to help align the vision all the way down. Like, you guys have been really innovative in sharing data points with like your CSRs even. I think it was you who told me that you even tell your CSRs like what an average cost per call is. That's wild. I love
It's
that.
huge. Giving them the why behind what we're doing. Like, they really appreciate it. We're like, do you guys know what these leads cost that are coming in on the phone? And once they realize that, oh, that lead costs maybe $100, they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to treat this a little bit differently. So, we run very transparently around here. It's our numbers. If you're in our shop, the numbers are on the wall, the numbers are on TVs outside my office. Like, we're very open to like, this is the goal. Here's where we are. And what do we need to do to achieve that goal?
I love that. Can you share a moment like early in the business that made you step back and say like, wow, we're doing something. And I'm actually curious to see how you're going to answer this, because I think a lot of people do have like when they stop and think, I had a wow moment, but you guys have just grown so fast. Did you have like a wow moment where you step back and you're like, holy cow? And like, what was it?
Honestly, it's probably been more recently. Obviously we were part of or experienced the giant COVID boom in a couple years ago, and then we really experienced the post-COVID pullback where all of a sudden, I think it was September of 2 years ago, I'm like, what happened? We changed. I'm calling our TV, like, did we stop running some ad? Like, what happened? Because demand just dropped off. But I think recently we spent the last 2 years like ripping their way all the layers and like getting super efficient in our business. And what we keep saying recently is like, oh, we're really, I'll say it, like, we don't suck as much as we thought we did. We're actually doing some things right. And so I think just recently it's been like, oh, look at what we have done. Look at where we were. Yes, we had this false like peak during COVID times where we all thought everything was great and their jobs, my job was a lot easier. Just keep spending money and the leads kept coming. And now it's like, okay, we gotta, now that we are, I would say, outpacing the industry, and we look at industry trends and stuff, we're not seeing the dips, the valleys as low as maybe the industry valleys are. It's making us realize, okay, we are doing something right. And we got to not be so hard on ourselves.
I wish more people would do that. I hear like everyday customers will call me like, I'm only a $3.6 million. I'm like, only a 3.6. What do you like? That's amazing. I think we forget sometimes.
Yeah.
All right.
As leaders, especially, we're so focused on the fire of the
improvements.
And,
yep.
How do we make this better? And that's not good enough. And it's like, okay, maybe take a step back and realize how good we really are. And we are doing some things right.
For this next question, I brought a little prop. If Chad was looking at you today, what would you tell him you were most proud of? I'll add his brother here too. What would you say you're most proud of to these two guys in the journey that you guys have done so far?
I would say right there, what you have in your hand, it's the brand.
Oh yeah, I love that.
What we also have realized lately is that brand is only 5 years old. Our company is 35, almost 40 years old, but we were Peterman Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing with a white band and just a logo on the side of it until 2021 when we did a big rebrand. So we haven't been Peterman Brothers for that long. Did we have something to build off of? Yes, but we went all out on how do we make this brand, at least in Indianapolis, like in Indiana, the number one home service company out there. And I no longer worry about when someone says, where do you work? What do you do? It's like, oh, Peterman Brothers. Oh yeah, I know them. I see them everywhere. And I get that compliment. I could take it as a compliment, almost probably weekly.
It's wild. Again, I'm going to go back to this, having been to your facility. People talk about making like these big, hairy, audacious goals, but I will never, as long as I live, I will have Alzheimer's in the nursing home and forget my name, but I will not forget the sheet of paper that's on the entryway that you guys have, where Chad and his brother and everyone wrote down what their revenue goals were. And it's wild. So and that was 2018, I think that she said on it, a date, which is not that long ago. I mean, it's insane what you guys have done with that brand. And I mean, not to blow smoke, but not just what you've done for your team members but also the community. You guys have done a ton.
Yeah, I mean, yes, love digital marketing. It's a huge, giant piece of what we do and what we do with camp, but it all works a lot better when you've got a really solid brand behind you.
1000%. I totally agree with you on that. And that's becoming more and more important as we're seeing kind of trust erode in the market, and brand is becoming all the more important. Shameless plug for the brand companies out there. What's one of the biggest obstacles you faced in the last couple of years, and how'd you overcome it?
I mean, that's really easy. The COVID pullback was a giant. I mean, we completely re-envisioned everything we were doing from a marketing standpoint and an operations standpoint. I just literally had this conversation an hour ago where it was like, yeah, the marketing numbers look really good, but a lot of that is because we fixed operations. Like, my ROIs look really solid this year because we're converting higher. We're actually doing something with the calls we're giving, the texts and as much as, because it's always marketing's fault, that I'm happy to take credit for something, but it's like, it was a cohesive thing throughout our entire operation of just how do we get better. I will say one credit I'll give Chad is he's always says, don't blame marketing until you're converting at 100%, because there's opportunity always there.
The old CMO of Apex, he's now over at Vertex Roofing, same Akra. He said to me early on, good operations can overcome bad marketing, but good marketing cannot overcome bad operations.
Literally printed out on a piece of paper above my desk right here.
It stuck to my bones when he said that, because I'm like, that's such, and as a marketer, you can have bad marketing if your operations is good. It works.
Yeah. And I think part of it too is you can't just sit in the marketing seat. Our team, like, my job as a marketer is to also coordinate with the rest of the operations team to feel like, okay, I'm giving you these leads, but they're not converting. Maybe they're bad leads. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're not the right kind of leads. Why are they canceling at a high rate? What is going on? And so it's definitely a team effort. It's not just, hey, go pay camp money to advertise on Google and that's where it stops.
I think that gap is closing too. I mean, what we're seeing in the market, and it's my next question for you. If your operations person and your marketing person aren't friends or don't go to lunch at least once a week, I would make them do it, because that gap is closing and closing quickly.
We meet, I think we're down to 3 days a week, but there for a while, it was every single morning we met. And it's like, okay, especially in our case, we have 11 different locations, all with different needs, with multiple service lines. And you've got to just stay in sync and figure out like what may look good in a report may not actually be what's happening on the ground. So you got to hear it from the actual folks.
I totally agree. And that does lead into the next question I have, because your title is not just marketing, it's innovation, which I love, adore, and feel like everyone should be including, as well as AI is somebody's responsibility. But how do you, Matt, stay ahead of the ever-changing landscape, not just in home services, but in digital marketing?
A big part of my role is that I am in charge of all the IT, tech, app dev related things in the company. I think it's a giant advantage that we have is that we use tech and alongside with digital marketing strategies to reduce customer friction, to make the process easy, but also be able to like try things. Because I think one thing about staying ahead is how do we just got to keep trying. That's part of marketing. Like, give it a try. If it doesn't work, we'll move on, but it may work. But how do we execute really quickly in having an IT background and having people on my team that can, try this new AI tool, outbounding tool, or try this, inbounding AI thing, or this chatbot option over here to make your speed to lead better, or to make your lead aggregator stuff, your close rate goes up. We're very agile around here, and we're very much like just give it a try. And if it doesn't work, we'll change it. But that's one thing we've gotten back to in the last year or so. I always say it used to be we'd come up with some crazy idea on a Friday and implement it on Monday. And if it didn't work, we change it on Friday again. But almost got to a point during the COVID boom where it was like things got too big and we were no longer being risky and taking chances. And as long as those chances are measured, and we're fine to do that around here.
You just said a bunch of really great buzzwords, so I'm going to kind of circle around a few of them. One of them, you talked about speed to lead, you talked about, agile. What is like one key trend or shift in the home services space that sitting in your seat, you'd be like, hey, everyone, you got to be paying attention to this. You got to be trying this, testing this, working with this. Is there like one specific area you'd point everybody to?
Specifically the digital marketing space, the biggest thing we're using right now is aggregators to kind of pick up particularly new install leads. The key there is like you can buy leads all day long, but if you don't have a process to coming to speed the lead, if you don't have a process to execute on those, they're not going to work. One thing we're doing there is we're using AI to outbound on our aggregator leads, and we're seeing like a 15% lift in booking rates.
That's wild.
Because people just don't answer their phones anymore, and so you gotta just call the heck out of them before they finally book something, or at least tell me no. But we always say you got to be the crazy ex-girlfriend, and you call them until they ask for a restraining order or
purchase order. Yeah, it's
or purchase order. Yeah,
RO or PO. Yep, I love that. We say that all the time.
Yeah. You got to take that approach, and so I think that's more on the lead gen side of things. Obviously, there's a huge shift with like AI search and things, but talking to the folks at like Google that we had that conference a couple months ago with you guys. I think there's still a lot to be known, a lot of unknowns out there. So we're not actively like changing our strategy, but we're definitely keeping an eye on everything.
I listen to the speed of lead thing. I think, probably feels old hat to you because you've been doing it, but it's, if I had a nickel for everybody who doesn't, you got to answer your phones. You got to answer them quickly. You got to answer those leads quickly. You got to return those calls quickly.
We're in the emergency service business. At the end of the day, unless they're just a super loyal customer, they're going to call somebody else if you don't pick up, and you don't pick up fast, or you can't chat with them right back or text them right back or whatever the method is. Take all that. Our big thing is how do we get rid of all that friction? Like I want to make it as easy as possible for you to book an appointment. And it's huge and ensuring you're maximizing your spend and being as efficient with your spend as you can be.
I've said this before to people, but I'll say it to you, kind of changing topics slightly on you. Whenever I've been to your business, there's a lot of people that work there. I've always been struck by one thing. People are genuinely smiling. I think you've heard me say that before. I've said it to Chad and a few other folks before too. It's not as common as you think. And when I walk around, it wasn't like they saw me and they smiled. They were sitting at their desks. They were happy. I think that comes from the leadership. So can you share with us a little bit about your approach to leadership? Your team particularly is really, they're always very smiley. They're really great to work with. What is your approach to leadership? How do you achieve that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we're just all very, we don't take ourselves too seriously here. Like, yes, I may have a director in my title, or yes, there may be a chief in my title. Like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, like we're all one big team, and it starts from the top. Like, I'll give Chad credit. Like I always say, my boss treats me this way, I'm going to treat you the same way because I appreciate it. And we hire smart people to do these jobs. We trust them to do the job. I'm a huge, whatever the opposite of micromanaging, macro managing.
If you can make that up, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm hiring you to do I'm not going to sit there and tell you how to do it. I'm going to give you a goal. I'm going to give you a vision. I'm going to paint the picture, and then, um, and I'm going to remove roadblocks if you have them. But like at the end of the day, we trust you. And that's, I think just a general philosophy around here is trust your people to do the right thing. Make sure you have an overall vision of where we're going, and people will enjoy their jobs. And it's not even always about that they're making the most money of every place, because take me a lot to go to some place. You have to, the dollar amount would have to be really high for me to move to some place that wasn't fun to work at. And then you just, it's just one of those, it's the small shop mentality in a big business.
Yeah, which is impressive that you guys were able to keep that. Again, shameless plug for your shop tours. I know you don't need it because they're always full. But if you haven't done one, highly recommend. Looking ahead, what's next for Peterman? Any exciting plans, initiatives, anything that you're working on that you can share with us?
I think just continuing to grow our locations. There might be a few new ones on the horizon for next year. We're kind of, obviously really focused in the Midwest. We want to be able to drive from Indy in an hour or two. And then we're just really focused on continuing to like get better at what we're doing. Lately, honestly, the focus has been in Indianapolis. It's like, okay, we're so focused on these other branches, and there's still a ton of room here to grow and to serve more people. So, I think with some fun things in marketing, some fun campaigns we've got on the horizon for next year. Now that we're finally I feel like out of this COVID bubble that we were in, or like we've recovered, let's say that, we're getting a little more aggressive on branding initiatives and things for next year. So I think, I'm excited about that because I love a good billboard campaign or something like that, but also that takes a big investment that you're not going to see a return on right away. So, that was the first thing to get cut back a couple of years ago. And it was like, okay, let's pull back on some stuff. So, I'm excited for that. And then just, I think the continual evolution of like, what can we do with technology and AI, and how does that affect marketing and what we're doing online?
What's your favorite way to start your day?
I'm an early bird. I like to get in early. Prior to kids, I used to get in the office about 6:00 every morning.
Oh my gosh.
Love, I love having my couple hours in the morning before the meetings start and the day starts going, to just prepare myself. Yeah, obviously get my coffee, that kind of stuff. I'm a 3-cup a dayer for sure. But yeah, I'm an early bird.
That's wild. Favorite book, podcast, or resource for business insights?
Ooh.
Shameless plug for Chaz.
I mean, Can't Stop the Growth.
There
Definitely
it is. Can't
great.
stop the growth.
I also love, I listen to, I'm always listen to Tommy's podcast. I just think there's some good information.
So good. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not a big reader. Definitely am more of a listener. My mind just wanders too much to read a lot, but yeah.
Love it. This one, I feel like I know what you're going to say here, but maybe I won't. Maybe I'll be surprised. What's your one tool or piece of technology that you could not live without in your business?
Oh, in my business?
In your business.
In the business. I mean, our business, we couldn't live without Service Titan.
That's it. Sure. I thought that's one you were going to say for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Greatest strength as a business leader.
I think I touched on this, but I think this just humility. I'm an expert, but I'm not the expert. I don't know everything. Like to my team, it's like, hey, we welcome your feedback. Tell me what you think should be different. Tell me if you think what I think is wrong. That's a big piece of how I lead, at least, is,
I love that.
Hey, we're on the same playing field.
If you could go to lunch with any business leader, current, past, present, future, who would it be?
I would say like maybe Jeff Bezos.
Really?
I love his philosophy on the customer journey
Mm.
and like the customer interaction. Like he's so obsessed. And I like the story. He's just like this geeky guy in a room and he became this, I don't have ambitions of being some trillionaire, but um, he's so obsessed with the customer experience. And I think we lose sight of that a lot of times in marketing.
Favorite way to unwind after a long day?
I'd say definitely when I force myself to do it, it's time with my kids. I try to be, I'm not always great at it, but I try to be very intentional of like putting my phone down and like, let's watch a movie. Let's do something you guys want to do because I wasn't that great at that in my previous life, as in like 5 years ago. Where it was just, work. And it's really easy to open that laptop up when you get home and you're all of a sudden still working till 10 o'clock at night and your kids notice it. So I've tried to do a better job at that because I realize they're now 6 and almost 10 and I feel like they were just born. So like I'm halfway through with one of them and I'm like, oh crap, you just grew up really fast. And I want you to remember that I was around.
It doesn't slow down, I'll tell you that. All right, and last one. This is one of the hardest ones for people. What's one word to describe your business journey so far?
I would say in this business in particular, right now, I would use the word maybe renewed.
Oh, love that.
I think that's a common thread around here is like things were a little dark like 2 years ago. Like it was, just post-COVID, things were a lot of things changed. A lot of changes had to be made. And we're really on the upward momentum and on a really solid path now. And I think all of us are very much feeling really good about how things are going.
Well, I want to say thank you. These two gentlemen are also saying thank you very much. And I honestly, Matt, I appreciate it. You and a few of the other folks are really not taking it away from Chad and his brother and the whole crew there, but you guys are what makes that place so special. So thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And give yourself some credit. We love working with Camp and Katie in particular. I on many calls where it's like, okay, what do you think about Camp? How are things going? I'm like, you know what? It's Katie. It starts at the top. And I think that's really true. So
I appreciate it. Thank you, Matt.
Hey, no problem. Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to connect with me personally, you can find me at chadmpeterman.com. To see what our team's up to, you can visit petermanbros.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel and consider joining the CSTG arena. As always, keep growing out there.